Mm.
All right, so we're going to talk about affordability. So, what have y'all heard about affordability?
That nothing is.
Nothing is. Okay. And what does that mean?
That means the houses are going up in the marketplace and that
Yeah.
interest rates are higher and people aren't able to afford what they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Afford what they used to. Okay. Seeing that a lot on the rental side, because with rentals, we immediately see what that monthly payment's going to be.
That's gone insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the last 2 years we've seen it go from 2,500 to about 3,200.
30%, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's, you know, 7 times 12, $8,400 more per year to rent than it was a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
Mm.
So very difficult. So, what do we talk about as far as how to help people get into that affordability category?
That's a hard one.
Home buyer programs
Yeah.
or some
Mhm.
other type of assistance.
Yeah. So we're talking down
Get
payment,
into. Right.
Hmm.
secondary loan, things such as that. Okay. So
Lowering expectations too.
yeah,
They're not
this
going to be
is
buying on dad's house.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the information I'm sharing here came from a report from NAR about the DC area. And so it might go against what we've been hearing. Um, they're calling it, and this is, I took the information and then this is a notebook presentation from that information. So I let AI extrapolate and then I put in a couple of little pieces myself. But they're calling it, a dynamic real estate market, a fortress of economic stability. The main thing is, despite the job reductions, staff reductions at Capitol Hill, we're still seeing a robust economy in the area, and that just means people are still getting jobs. They're still moving to the area, and we are seeing quite a few people decide, "I'm out of here," and they're leaving. But as an economic power, um, I think it's shows us that we do have an area that uh, we don't have to worry as much as if we were in a manufacturing place, something like that. Um, so that's the one piece that we want to look at. The other is, and this was a surprise to me, they were stating in this report that the median home prices are in a line with the median regional incomes. Now, if you're not in median, remember it's the middle. So if
Hmm.
you're at the middle income, then you can qualify for the middle house. And I think, honestly, I think that discussion right there has, it's encouraging to some, but I think it's discouraging to more. Because if you go across a country map, the USA, oh, look at all these median prices. And that means people can't afford to live there. Well, no, it means they can't buy the median price house. But what is that? What is that? Y'all tell me. If the median price is 800,000 and there's 2,000 houses that sold, what does that mean?
That means 1,000 of them were less than that.
Yeah, 1,000 of them were less than $800,000. And the median income buys that, but it doesn't mean you have to have the median income to buy a residential property.
It also means that you're not getting exactly what you want either.
Possibly.
You're gonna have to buy again to get what you need.
Yeah. Well, and
But
I
some,
don't think that I don't think anyone under median income would be looking at that price range anyway. It's not like suddenly I'm at the 80% of median income and I'm going to go look at something that's 120% of median price. It's never been that way, you know?
Well, Anthony, you don't think that people don't always look for more than what they want? I mean, to me,
Yeah,
that I don't
they
know if
do, but
I agree
I'm
with
just
that statement.
pointing out that what's the reality? If I've got an introductory income person or couple or, single buyer, they don't go look at the median price housing market, but we see that in the media, and instantly what we say, well, it's not affordable. Well, below median's affordable. There are still condos in the 250 to 350 range. And
Yeah,
I don't know who said
but
it. Yeah.
That's true. I guess I would argue with that only because of the HOA.
The
I
Mhm.
mean,
condo fees.
yeah,
Yeah.
the condo fees, that just throws it all out of whack. You can't afford that. And that's what I find. The average person can't afford those
Yeah.
condo fees. You got condo fees of $1,000,
Yeah.
800 and up.
That would be an interesting data I'll put together is what are the
Mhm.
average and median condo fees that are out there? I'll put that together
Okay.
so we can see, because I see a lot of condo fees in the 250 to 300 range. And I get that. Like, some people like, well, dang, I could use that on my payment. So let's go look at something else. But I'm like, it depends on what's in that condo fee. The challenge with condo fee as well is that it dings your buying power, whereas your grocery bill and your utilities don't.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, because part of that condo fee is paying for some of those things. It's paying for your garbage, it's paying for your water, which if you didn't have a condo fee, you'd pay those anyway, but it wouldn't go against your buying power. So that is an anomaly, I think, of the processing of those numbers to determine if you afford something. So don't kill the messenger here. I am saying,
Okay.
according to the data, the
Numbers
median
show.
price house is attainable to a median income in the DC area. But I think someone mentioned it earlier. What do we have to do with some folks? You may need to reduce your expectation. And
Right.
I've always said this a lot of times and I'll say in the millennial community, and I'm not going after any class, okay?
Age group.
I'm not. I'm just letting you know this is my observations. The millennials I have seen want the house that they grew up in. The Xers are not in that mentality. And the millennial, and then you got the Gen Z, which remember the Gen Z is only there's like 4 or 5% of those that are even in the home buying category. Half of them are still in school, meaning high school and middle school. So they're becoming a buying force, but the 4% that made up the market last year, they're not looking for what they grew up in because they're in their 20s knowing that I'm not going to buy my 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath house that I grew up in. I'm going to go buy a condo. I'm going to buy a cheap townhouse. I'm okay with the 2 bedroom, 1 bath townhouse. So I think that that's part of, at least generationally, what I'm seeing. So the qualifying income is 162, 144 for the median priced house, which gives you a payment of 3378. Price to income is 4.2 and the payment to income is 25. And that's the biggest thing for most people is what's my payment to income going to be?
Right.
So whether we exist in this world or not, this is our market. There's a lot of people making some good money and the affordability is there. The question is, I see the median price,
Yeah.
but my gosh, that's not what I want to live in. I mean, there's a lot of properties at 500 to 700,000 that are fixer uppers, and I get that part of it too.
Hmm.
So it does show us though in the market area, 78% of the home buyers are living at 30% of income for their housing, that's pretty affordable. Only half of renters are doing that. Now, I see this slide right here as a means of talking with people that are considering, well, should I keep renting? There's even a whole movement out there. Don't rent, don't buy, go rent because you're mobile. You can move around. I'm like, I'm talking with people that are renting and they wish they had bought 10 years ago now. They're in their 30s, their 40s. They thought it was too expensive in 2016. And now they're realizing I should have eaten that payment back then to have it stable now. The only thing that would have been going up on your payment would have been your taxes and your insurance and your upkeep a little bit. But the numbers are here. 78% spend less than, which just means that they've been able to nail down that inflation on their monthly payment. It's up for taxes, but generally it's the same for 10, 15 years. And that's a big difference. I like this one that shows the difference in what's going on there. So the rent exposure, and this is just another way of showing the other bar on the other page. We are in a high income area. 30 to 50% of income spent on rent is 23.5%. And 70% of income spent on rent, 14.4%. I don't know how they're making it, but there is 14% of the renters that are spending 70% of their income.
They have no life.
Probably. They've got groceries. Probably some of these are on subsidy of some sort. So that's going to be, but most of them are in that 30 to 50% range, a 30 to 70% range spent on rent. And that's a tough thing. The home ownership life cycle shows you where they can be. And this is like, under 25 is your new, that's alpha. So these are really young people. The entry phase is 25 to 34. Gen Z, just so you know, is 14 to 28 or 29 right now. So that's Gen Z. They're actually in this range down here and part of this range here, but they're in that entry phase. Peak purchasing is from 35 to 64. And that's what's the percent of people that are actually buying? And then as they get older, they're retiring, they're downsizing. 50%, I think it's 55% of the market is controlled by, not controlled, but is the activity of that market are the baby boomers. They're selling, they're moving around, they're going into assisted living, they're going to retirement, they're buying that second home. So that's what's going on a lot there. But the renter's glass ceiling, I thought that was an interesting way that this program put it together, is that the light, the gray bar there is showing you that their affordability is going to peak because they can't control that rent payment. So it says here, while overall affordability peaks in your mid 30s to 60s, renter affordability peaks low and crashes early. Why? Because those who have successfully built wealth in this region transition to home ownership in their 30s. So it really does come back to, as painful as it is, you need to go buy something, because if nothing else, you're paying down that mortgage and building equity inside the real estate you have. I mean, if you imagine that 20, 30 years ago, you bought a condo for 250 to 350, and now here that condo is worth 450, and it's 25 years, you now have about $400,000 of equity that you can do something with in these later years. It maybe you got $400,000, $300,000 in equity that you could now go buy that single family or that townhouse, or decide to move further out and get something smaller. Something larger and cheaper in an outlying area, because now you're willing to do the commute. So some good stuff here.
Anthony, do you think a lot of them are still wishing, hoping, praying the interest rates are going to come down, and that's part of it too?
I mean, narratively, I think that's out there,
Mhm.
but historically, it's just not. I think the numbers we saw Tuesday from KWRI was showing that, hey, here's your average over the years. We had this dip during this economic crash from '08 to like 16, and then 2022, the economy was slowing down, so everything dropped, and then boom, and no, 2022, things were moving forward after the crash of COVID, and suddenly the rate said, "Hey, we got to slow the economy down," and they started moving up again, back to normal. Now, the current administration, they want it lower, because they believe, those economists I've listened to, they believe that just because historically that's what we've always done. In other words, economy heats up, go up on the rates. And that's just a economic model from the classroom that they've always used. And the economists, there is another school of thought. Look, if you keep it heated up, you'll create the jobs and the income to stay in that heated up market. I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade. It just makes sense to me that, look at how less properties we had when they were 2 to 4%. because everyone was buying. Now, the good news was everyone was buying, but you can't expect for prices not to increase when everyone's buying, because that is what's going to happen, you know. Um, but at the same time, it makes that payment more affordable so that they can keep up with the increase in the value of the properties. And also, interestingly, we keep hanging around that 63 to 67% home ownership rate, regardless of the time period we're in. It's like we just can't break out of that 2/3 of people have houses. We're still in that number. So there is a certain percentage of that, the 35%. There's a certain percentage in there. They're like, I'm not buying anymore. I'm done. I'm renting. And that would be the older class. And there's some that's like, hey, that's the lifestyle I've chosen. But of that group, there's a group that I really want to buy of that 35%. So the whole 35% are not trying to buy. Did someone have a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I wonder how long that's been a trend. Is that just where the water level is? And
I mean, even in the high level of when we had the low interest rates, 65%. When we had the high interest rates, 65%. I mean, it's not, at least in the country. Now you go to somewhere like DC, almost 50% of those properties are rentals. So, and that's probably part of that is like they just can't build anymore. And so you're stuck with, and then it's so difficult and challenging to sell. So that's part of the issue with DC. But that's the last eight. I took my last class I took. It pointed out that 48% of the residents in DC are renters, so only 52% are homeowners. So, but that makes sense. That's a transition. It's a transitory town. A lot of people come 1, 2 years and they leave. Congress is always churning, so it kind of makes sense. But anyway. So this is the strategy from entry to equity, secure the entry. And that's part of what we talk about is like, I mean, that's what someone said, change your expectation. Well, I know someone would love to have that little small townhouse or that. And it's like, well, you know what? Because between townhouse and condo in our market, it's substantially difference in price. Single family to townhouse to single family, you can find some townhouses that are the price of single families. You're not finding a lot of townhouses that are the price of condos. So even though you have the condo fee, we can look up that data, but most of your condos are lingering in that $350,000 range. Townhouses are in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. So there's a big gap there where I'm like, you need to just jump on step one. Start paying yourself and building equity. It's like a forced savings plan here, at least in a condo world. Even though the increase in value is not going to be as great for a condo, you're at least starting to build equity by your paying it down. So, and that was the end of my. It had me in
You're
there.
looking pretty good there, Anthony.
Yeah, I do, don't I? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I took that slide out anyway. So, what are your thoughts on this kind of stuff? On affordability. It's reality. We're always in it.
there is something out there that you can afford. It may not be what your first choice would be,
Right.
but then we can find something.
Right.
I personally think that that's why the bias classes are very important
Yeah.
to discuss these topics so that people understand
Mm-hmm.
the affordability in the area
Right.
and
I mean,
how
the
they
bold-
can buy, how feasible it is, and that's my take on it.
I mean,
So consultation is good.
Sure. I think the bold principle is huge as far as the mindset of the masses. And that bold principle is what you focus on expands. Everyone thinks it's unaffordable. I don't know that it's as unaffordable as it ever has been. Yeah, we've had a lot of increase, but in our area, we've also had an increase in income for employees. Let's take a look at this real quick. So let's take a northern, let's do, and I'm going to divide these up by counties first, but in Fairfax County, there's 660 condos on the market. Okay. So we're going to see what's the results on that. And then I'm going to highlight them all and give me a stats. So the median price condo is 400,000.
Go to all.
Yeah. All is 389. Median's 389 for all. That's coming soon. I'm sorry. Coming soon is 400 median. And then the ones on the market, the median's 389. Now here's the interesting piece.
Look at the days on market.
Yeah. I'm just saying there's possibility, some opportunity here.
So for those of you that aren't like data geeks like Anthony and I, go back to that number because I want to talk about median and average, what that's telling me immediately.
Right.
So you've got median was 31 days, average was 55.
Yeah.
So think about how many condos have to be above 55 days on market when you've got a median that's 31. So you've got a bunch that are probably listed in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And to get a median up to 31 days, you've probably got a big chunk. Like if you did that same search and
There you
did
go.
60 plus days,
Yeah.
I bet you'd find about 40% of the condos or 33 or 40% of the active condos have more than 2 months on market.
So the bottom 250 have been on the market 44 days. The bottom 250. 250 houses on the market in Fairfax County for over 250 days. I got to think this one right here, this is probably a new build. But also it might be, you know what? It might be, where's the age? Let me take off the age. I'm going to say no new construction. So we lost 30. Senior community, no. We lost only 6. So these are not age restricted and new homes. So it's still in that long. So I'm like, okay, I got someone that wants they need a bigger place, right? So let's go see this 3-bedroom condos here, which remember, I just got condo, which means they may be townhouse condo. So here's a 3-bedroom property with a garage for 435. Let's take a look at it. Now, to Lauren's point, yeah, there you go. $1,300 monthly condo fee.
Good Lord.
So let's do the condo fee range.
A mortgage in some markets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go.
Mhm.
So highest to lowest condo fee. Yeah, there you go. Whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Hi.
But let's say we can get that down to $500.
Doable.
Yeah. So let's say Anthony, I just wanted under $500 for the condo fee. Okay. Let's find that. So here we
There you
go.
go.
This is under $500.
It's
And
probably a
here's
1 bedroom.
yeah, price, yeah. And try to bring all these over here to make it easy for us. All right. So let's say I need to have a 3-bedroom. Okay, let's take a look at that. I need 3 bedrooms. We're down to 119. Okay. So there's 119 3-bedroom condos. And look at all these that are $200 and $300 condo fees. That's very doable, I think. Now, let's say I needed a condo fee and I'm looking at My price is, I mean, here's a 3-bedroom down in Alexandria for $299. The rest of them, you know, a little pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good one right there, but they're there.
They're rare. Yeah, they're
They're
rare.
rare,
Yeah.
but they're there. And you
Yeah.
go through that one, and that one's been on the market for 22 days. So there's an opportunity for a low price property with a lower condo fee to go in and get in that rung. Because say, well, Anthony, I just can't do that. Say, okay, let's do this. You want a townhouse then, right? I got 362, and you're saying you want something under 500. I got 24 under 500. And there's what I've got. And my condo fee is a lot less. Look at this 398. It was 398, they're at 389. It may not be perfect, but I need to go in there and get on that rung. And now I'm on this condo and I got 1,500 square feet with 2 baths, and it's nearly an end unit. And it's in Lorton. So I'm just saying that the affordability factor, it means, yeah, fewer properties. I get that. And I'm not taking away from that. But I think you do have to look at, okay, how do I make this happen? How can I get into the property? The win is not the best property, best price, cheap. And that's not the win. The win is I got a property. And I got
Well,
one
it's
that meets
also
my needs, and then what's the win? Don't think of it physically. I now am building equity. Okay. And
But don't you think,
I'm off that
Anthony,
rung
that
of
it,
renting.
don't you think it also has to somewhat fit into their criteria?
Sure.
Just because the house is out there at, let's say, 500 and then the condo is down, it may be a 1 bedroom, but it doesn't fit into your client's affordability and
Right.
what they need because they may have 3 kids.
Right.
So, I mean, it's so much that goes into the mix
Right.
when we talk about affordability,
For sure.
and what's affordable to an individual. And I think that's why people feel the way they feel in relations to, well, it's not affordable for me.
Right. And then, so then that was Fairfax. And this is Prince William County, under 500,000, 3-bedroom and higher. And look at these lower condo fees. If there's a condo fee, some of them have nothing.
Yeah, well, it's a townhouse. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, okay. I mean, and that's where I'm like, I don't know who said it. Look, let's go look at these properties that meet your price that are not in Fairfax County. I have to drive so far. Do you want to be an owner? Guys, I lived this. I came to DC. We barely could make $750 on our rent. Imagine that, right? But between the two of us, I think we made like $35,000 a year. And that was supposedly entry-level jobs. And so by the time we wanted to buy a year later, we went to Herndon.
Yeah, it's out there. Yeah.
So I went 20 miles west to get in that first rung. And I wasn't even real estate at the time. I was still a journalist and she was still a fundraiser. That's what we did.
Anthony, we did the same thing. We rented in Fairfax and ended up
Yeah.
moving out
Yeah.
to Prince William County.
So I think part of it
30
is
years ago.
But also,
maybe
I
it is
must
that
be doing
lifestyle
something wrong
discussion.
then, because I can't get my
but I-
clients to go out there. I can't even get them to go out to Woodbridge.
Yeah.
So
and also,
give me the secret because I've got to be doing something wrong.
no, you're not doing anything wrong. Okay, life is choices and consequences.
Yeah.
So if people don't want to consider going out to Herndon, then the
Okay.
pain level of them living in their current situation, whatever it is not psychologically more
Hmm.
than their perception of being out in the boonies
Yeah.
in their head. That's a hard thing. If people, we can give them information and counsel, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, the decision maker has to have enough motivation / pain to consider alternatives that they might not prefer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then again, here, this CDOMs,
I
you
wouldn't
know,
say it
some
that
of these
way
people.
to
Yeah.
a client, but among us,
Yeah.
that's how I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, you know, some of these folks here, I mean, this is amazing. 103 days, they've not dropped their price yet at 439.
Yeah. Seen a lot of that.
206 days, they've dropped it. What's that? They dropped it 79,
15.
$15,000 in 206 days. That's beautiful.
Where's that? Oh,
Rail stop drove.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now this is
I've
and the
been there.
condo fee is 251.
That's real good.
So and I get it, Lauren. It is. I mean, my realtor had to grab us, say, you can't afford it. I remember when we had a pastor move in from Texas to Northern Virginia, and the realtor kept passing all these properties. And she kept saying, what about that one? I think I like that one. And finally, she pulled over on the road, pulled over and turned around and says, if you like it, you can't afford it. And this was 20 some years ago.
That's
And
brutal.
the wife was like, she's like, look, do y'all want to rent or do you want to buy here? Because this is Northern Virginia, 90 miles an hour with your hair on fire around the Beltway. That's this
Sweet, thank
lifestyle.
you.
That's what it is. And so
Well-
she says, okay. And she bought an older house. I had another gentleman. He wanted, this is like 4 years ago. He wanted to stay in Fairfax. He wanted to be in the Woodson High School district. Had no kids, but that's where his clients were. He was a counselor. And so I said, you know, at your age, you can get some of these really brand new buildings out in Prince William County and Haymarket and all their brand new developments for 50 over, 55 over. No, I want to do that. Next thing I know, I get a call from him. Hey, I saw this development is way out in Haymarket. That's where he bought. And so sometimes they have to have the revelation themselves. But one of the things I would do is I know you don't want to go to Prince William County, but today I'm going to go show you some properties that I want you to look at. And you go look at these properties like this. And now I've been in these developments. They look beautiful on the inside. There's tiny outside is the problem. I get it. It's tiny outside. Here's another one. Piggyback, but it's all newer.
Sometimes it's all the stairs.
Yeah. 385, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. You know, your condo fee is I don't see the condo fee here, but 375. So part of it is getting them to leap out of the concept that I have to have in this market. And that's where it's not your forever home. It's not forever.
Well, there's also, I don't know, how open folks might be, especially if they work remotely or whatever, is consider going across the bridge to Maryland.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, well, I know, Scott,
You don't even want to go across the bridge, Melanie.
No, but I'm saying,
I thought about that too when we moved here.
No, but I mean, if you think about it, though, up somewhere like Fort Washington, let's say, they work in DC and don't want to go out to Woodbridge because of that commute. Well, if they're in Fort Washington, they're 10 minutes from DC and it's affordable. So, I mean, just, something to think about. I always ask folks, if they're open to looking on, on both sides, because, the affordability is there on the Maryland side, and the commute is better, if they work, so just putting a plug in.
That's true. That's very true. But
that's truth, man.
Yeah,
there's
that's
some
true.
great deals in PG County, and people just have this preconceived idea that every neighborhood's burning, and it's not. There's a lot of nice neighborhoods out there, and people just need to take it and at least look at it.
Yeah.
I just sold one 4-bedroom, 2-bath on almost a half acre for $400,000.
5 minutes from my house.
Buyers are happy.
It was cute. I just went under contract, got an offer first day for a 2,200 4-bedroom 3.5 bath townhouse in Greenbelt in
Yeah.
a great neighborhood.
Right.
Hugely popular property. Like there's no way, in Fairfax County that townhouse wouldn't have been, less than six,
Right.
something.
Mhm.
Now, I added on some single families on this search. Some folks, I'm just saying, they may need to have to we've reached a point now where the incomes are what they are. So the properties, you have to go find them. Not you, but the consumer needs to look. Because some people say, well, I'll show them, like this one gal I was taking out for a rental. And she was like, well, what's your criteria? I said, you said nothing more than 1,800. That's my criteria. She's
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
When we moved here,
and what we're seeing is what you can afford. And so we were looking at basement apartments, we're looking at studios, and she finally found one that was 5 minutes from her office, 10 minutes from her office. It met the needs, but it wasn't a townhouse condo apartment. It was a basement apartment. But she's like, but that's what I got to do. So that's part of it, is getting people to jump out of what they need to be looking at. And I just want to do this exercise too. If you've got that person, I just can't expand it out. And I mean, expand south and west, not deeper into DC and Arlington. That's just going to be, if price is the problem, they need to get over the fact they may have to be a commuter. I went from, well, actually, when I was in Falls Church, I was down there off of 29, Calmia Lee Court. That was the first apartment I was in. And I had to drive to the Metro, West Springfield Metro, West Falls Church Metro, take that in, switch over at Metro Center, get on the red line, then get out, and then walk another 5 minutes to my office. It was an hour to live 7 miles out of DC. Then my job shifted over to Fairfax, and we went to Herndon, and my commute was 40 minutes. I've been commuting over 30 and 40 minutes my whole career here. I've never really had a problem. And as a realtor, okay, what's another 30 minutes, I don't worry about it.
My husband works in the Pentagon. He takes the bus, and he's in Woodbridge in 30 minutes.
Yeah. So you have to get folks to look differently at that. I mean, and there are slug lines all over the area, because I know it's quality of life, but if the house is important enough to you that you just can't have something that's so small and old in Fairfax, then you may need to say, let's go across the line and look at Prince William County, Dumfries, Triangle, Aquia Harbor, some affordable houses there, and then bang, right across. I mean, from Alexandria, you're right across the bridge into PG County, and you got Fort Washington, you got District Heights, you got Oxon, a lot of really older but nice neighborhoods. And the thing about being older, people are starting to redo them now. You got a 50-year-old house with the 10-year-old appliances. And so folks need to relook at what they're thinking about.
Going west has actually become more popular too, in my opinion, because 66, if you need to, you can get on that express lane both ways anytime.
Yeah.
Instead of 95 where it's timed.
Right. I
Or
mean,
you could drive
now,
morning.
yeah.
I drive from my house off of 234 to Falls Church office in less than an hour.
Right. And this is what's happened now to 66. It used to be 2 lanes here, 2 lanes here,
Yes.
this express lane here. What she's talking about there is, even if you go further out and you go to, did I pass it? No.
Those lanes end at Route 15.
Yeah.
in
All
Haymarket.
of this is now developed out.
That's
This is
pretty far
all
out,
park
though,
and
15.
ride.
Yes.
And they come out of here, boom, they get there and they're downtown in 30 minutes. You add it part of your budget, and they have Wi-Fi. You can work on it while you're driving. Others are, Where's 28?
They've now built some commuter lots right next
Right.
to the 66.
Yeah.
So where you can pick up extra people and you
Right.
don't pay.
Right. And see this line I'm looking at right here, this Manassas. This is VRE,
Mhm.
Virginia Railway Express. That's Manassas. Then it goes down to, I believe, Bristow's the last commuter route.
There's a stop at Route 28 at the
Yeah.
airport.
I was
Yeah.
going to say there's
So
also
you got Manassas,
that also
and
goes over
then
there in Woodbridge area.
yeah. So
It's a different
Manassas
line, yeah.
Park. So you got Manassas Park and Manassas VRE. So there's just ways to peel that onion where they think, I don't want to drive. Then don't drive. Look at VRE. Look at the omnibus. There's some southern buses as well. I don't know, Melanie, do you know if there are, is there a bus service from PG to Alexandria? I don't know that route.
Not to my knowledge. I
Yeah.
don't believe so.
So it's getting out of the box. It's thinking of it differently, and that's kind of how to attack the affordability piece. Okay. Any other
So
thoughts on that?
here's another element
Yeah.
somewhat related to affordability, although I tend to think affordability is a dollar value that's more than say $20,000 or $30,000, which
Yeah.
is what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
The other element of potential affordability or accessibility is inventory. And we are tracking, just like last spring and summer, inventory is up. Not many people realize that in Fairfax County, 42% of all actives as of Wednesday, not including condos, houses and townhouses, had over 30 days. And we're now at 20% of actives have more than 60 days. That's going to continue through the summer and fall, like
Yeah.
last year, which
Man,
is
that's
going
truth. These
which
things
is
right here, y'all know this market. Everyone on this call, you've been in this business a while. It's summer. These days are not going to get shorter for these units. And you may want to look at where it says condo, look for number of units or number of levels, 2+, and take your buyers out. That now these folks are really going to start panicking and saying, I've got to get this thing sold. You know, those properties there. All right, I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna stop this recording.